So I am one of the co-founders and chief exec of a company called The Data City. We provide data on businesses, and specifically what we do is map emerging economy sectors and sell that data to government, private equity, venture capital, business-to-business marketing teams, so on. So I started my career in tech kind of by accident and kind of as a reaction to being mistreated by my employers when I was 23. So the short version, I landed a massive contract from my employers. They didn't thank me. They were born again Christians, went and thanked the Lord. And then I got really ill and they docked my salary, and I got quite annoyed with them over these two events, and then got pissed on Friday night with my mate and my girlfriend at the time's brother, one who was creative, one who was technical, in 1999, and the internet was kicking off, and said, why don't we start a web design agency? And 8 pints in, we did. That's how I got into it. That's the honest truth. And the rest of the day is history. That business grew to quite a successful digital agency, which I sold in 2016. As part of that journey, so we were top 5 agency in Leeds, top 100 UK. Tech Nation did the first Tech Nation report, which was a database of all the digital agencies in the UK. And my agency wasn't in it, which was shock horror, more, but like how dare they? And but then I started looking through the report properly, and they'd missed about 3 out of 4. And so then I read the methodology. The methodology was based on this standard industrial classification system, little box you tick when you set a company up. And I basically called it out and said, this is rubbish, you've missed 3/4 of the sector. They'd missed London headquartered, world's largest agencies, based opposite them. And I said you could do better with web scraping. We had an early marketing technology division, and some people, Leeds City Council and KPMG said, all right, how much? And we accidentally created a business. I'd met Paul, my co-founder by this point, and Tom, did an early version, won another massive contract, and sold the business at Bloom, my agency at the time, coincidentally. But this was starting to take off on the side, so when I'd finished my sort of exit there, went in and thought, right, let's make a proper go of this. So far, so good. It's not difficult for us because we are an innovation-led business. So the pathology of the founders is innovation. We are a machine learning, AI-centric business because we are, I guess, in our DNA is solving problems with technology, and then we go and work out which technology we need to use to find that. So it's not a challenge. It's almost the opposite of a challenge. It's a pathology, and we can't help but we have to stop ourselves, if anything, from trying to immediately adopt large language models into our products when we've actually already got plenty to do. Just be curious and interested in technology, right? Make it part of your culture, and you don't have to ask that question of yourself because it just is what you do. Yeah, absolutely. So we've got, in hopefully a week's time, we are launching the DSIT, which is the Department of Science, Innovation and Technologies, mapping of the UK's research, development and innovation clusters, which is basically the science and technology pitch for the UK. Project initiated by George Freeman, who was the minister at the time, finally coming to fruition. So that's a really exciting project to see go live. The other bit is we have been historically UK-centric in our data, but in December we launched the global version of our platform, which is a very early version, but that sees us extend our reach to about 130 million companies across 12 countries, so we're going global. And we're working on a proposition based around this idea of launching an industry engine, which is a search and classification engine for industry, which is a sort of expression of our product. So there's quite a lot of, it's exciting at the moment, So I'm really passionate about this. So I think If you think about how the regional economy wins, despite the bias against it from our perhaps London-centric thinking, politics, economic policy, investment habits, all this stuff. The way to do this is to not wait for them to change, but to change them by being innovative and growing innovative businesses. So the way that the North wins in my world is we grow massive companies from here despite that environment. And actually that sort of despite the environment is where forces innovation, right? When you're sitting fat, dumb and happy, you've no reason to be innovative. When you turn and face adversity, you've reason to be innovative. So the role of innovation is to create a platform for ourselves where we win on our terms. And we need to grow some massive companies from here. And then they'll build HS2 because they'll be desperate to build transport infrastructure to come and reach the world's largest companies. You know, we need to be building 100 billion turnover valuation companies from the North and really, really be ambitious for ourselves. And innovation is how you do that. Why is Leeds a thriving hub for tech businesses? So Leeds has a history of innovation, you know, and it's hard to prove, I think, completely objectively and scientifically, but when you look at what was invented here, the world's first commercial steam train, you know, lots of history of innovation here. And then I think when you look at the actual sort of socioeconomic and the sort of topography and all the other bits of the region, we are physically close, so we're not dispersed. You know, it's a nuclear centre here where you can walk within 5 minutes to all of it pretty much, which I think has a lot of benefits, which when you go to other cities, you lose. Combined with the fact that it's a socioeconomically, ethnically diverse, but very concentrated city, which is ambitious and has historically been successful and is determined to be successful again. I think you add all that together and that's why, you know, and then, yeah, I don't want to be stereotypical, but we tend to be honest and easy and open and supportive of each other, and we definitely have convened as a community. And you know, we've just moved to Avenue HQ, and it feels very much like being part of a community. And then Avenue HQ is part of a community. I'm in platform with you now doing this interview, which is another nuclear little centre of community, right? So, you know, we know each other because we're part of the tech community. So I think you add all that together. Leeds Digital Festival is definitely a key catalyst. And it just keeps everyone's determined to make it work and, you know, work. And, you know, there's no politics and division and all that stuff, which I think can happen. But everyone just wants the same thing, right? Wants Leeds to be successful and wants to be part of a community and knows that if they help that, they'll benefit. Number one, just do it. There's never a good time to do it. You just got to do it. And the rest of it will work itself out. Number two, turn up. If you want to start a tech company, start a tech company. You want to be part of the Leeds tech community, come to the Leeds tech community events and you'll be welcomed. You know, and it's probably as simple as that, right? You know, there's no barriers other than that you put on yourself. There's a schedule of events, there's the Leeds Digital website, there's plenty of Twitter profiles. You know, it's actually quite easy to find the community, rock up and just start talking to people. So I think Leeds Digital Festival is extremely important for the city, and I'm privileged to have been part of its inception. In fact, you know, I don't want to, but there was a very early version of it which sort of fell apart because of politics. And then I sent an email to the City Council saying, look, I actually think that was really good and we should do it again. And they responded saying yes. And I said, right, well, the learning from the last one is we need to pay somebody to do it properly. And I really, really believe that person's Stuart Clark. And they went, okay. And so we did it, right? You know, we had this meeting in the pub where we convened it, and Leeds City Council went, all right. And we went, Stuart, will you do it? And he was like, yep. And we did it, you know, and we supported him, and he has been absolutely instrumental in convening people and making it non-political and a very collegiate, supportive, positive thing for the city. And, you know, what it has done is stopped what was sort of people in Leeds thinking they were competitive with each other and turned it into actually recognising the strength that brings to the city and the ability that attracting talent and funding and all this stuff is the bigger we amplify the message about ourselves, the easier it is to become a business in the tech sector or digital sector in Leeds. And our competitors are actually not other businesses in Leeds, they're not other businesses in the north, they're not other businesses in the UK, they're other businesses around the world, and we should be ambitious to think about ourselves as global players. And that's the impact of the festival, right? And it's only when we all come together at these events and you actually meet these people and you realise that they're just founders like you, and you actually have loads in common because they are people like you who have formed businesses like yours and actually become some of your best friends. And you're doing hard stuff, you know, choosing to run a business is not an easy choice. You find this amazing supportive network of amazing people, and the Leeds Digital Festival is the absolute nexus of that activity, and then I think everything else has flowed from that. It's been absolutely transformative for Leeds, I think. The importance of levelling up is that in almost no country in the world do we think that the only place that success can happen is the capital city. And it is ridiculous to think that world-changing ideas and businesses can only originate from one geographical space. And then the consequences of that are often that one geographical space also precludes any sort of diversity in that success story. So it typically becomes white, middle class, and often public school, you know, which in the UK is 8-10 schools, which is just crazy, right? So, no, you know, it extends out to private schools, but then actually the importance of levelling up is to say that there is equality of opportunity across the UK, and innovation comes from the clash of ideas and cultures and socioeconomic standing and ethnicity and neurodiversity and all these things are where amazing world-changing ideas and businesses come from. And levelling up is part of that story, right? It's about saying, and you look at the history of the UK, the Industrial Revolution did not just happen in London. You know, our great cities were born from the Industrial Revolution, from that space, and then we killed it. And we need to get it back, the post-industrial, AI revolution, wherever it is, the Industry 4, wherever you want to label you put on it, all those things actually simultaneously need to happen. And they should and could happen in the North and the Midlands and Scotland and Northern Ireland, Wales and all the rest of it. So, that's the role of levelling up. It is about, don't want to get political, but we live in a capitalist society, and you've got to play by those rules. Don't hate the player, hate the game. That's the game. So we've got to level up economically through, growth in our businesses in the regions, and we've got to make that as inclusive as possible. But in order to make it as inclusive as possible, you've got to have growth.